Hello, everybody. My name is Roxanne Richards. I'm excited to have everybody here with me today. And really, this event is about the next big idea. I'd really like to explain a bit about what that means, expand on what this event is going to encompass, and tell you a little bit about me. I'm the Assistant Director for the Outreach and Special Projects here at RIT, and I'm really looking forward to watching your new ideas, your products and services come to fruition. I know right now you're probably going, what am I doing? But do not worry. I will explain throughout the rest of the PowerPoint and put yourself at ease. So you're probably asking yourself, what is the next big idea? And basically the key word in that is innovation. This really is a creative, innovational approach. We already know create, but innovation, this started back in like 2012, and the event was sponsored by ZVRS, the competition, and a lot of deaf and hard of hearing students in high school, before they came into the college environment, had not yet transferred in. They were, being creative and trying to figure out how to solve problems or dilemmas, and trying to figure out how to eliminate any existing challenges that they themselves are facing or others have that they notice were. So that's just a little bit of history about how this got started, because I just wanted to be, transparent and say this is what's been going on since 2012, which is pretty impressive. So we have a total of 3 next big idea high school starts in 2022. First place winner is going to get $3,000. Second place will be $2,000, and third place will be $1,000. So maybe you can ask your teacher to register for you and be like, I'm curious, I want to know more. And that link, as you can see, is down below. That's something I would encourage you to take a picture of, so that you have that at your fingertips later. So you're probably asking yourself, am I eligible to apply or not? So if you are a high school student in grades 9 through 12 in spring of 2022, and you have some sort of hearing loss, then you can be a contestant. If you have an idea and you're like, I'm just going to come in and watch and observe. No, this isn't the environment for you. This is where we're going to expect you to develop a new product, be interactive, and present your ideas to everybody. Now, these are really important dates. Please take note of these dates that you see on the screen. If you miss the registration deadline, which is the February 25th, that's due next week, you're kind of stuck. So February 25th, registration deadline. March 9th, that's when you need to submit your presentation for the qualifying round. March 18th, the top 5 presentations chosen from the abundance that we will receive will be announced on who's progressing to the next final round. And then you have until April 11th to submit your presentation and get things ironed out, go into depth, and then make preparations for the April 11th presentation. What we're going to do at that point in time is we're going to have the top 5 finalists submit their presentations, and they will be judged. And you as a student are going to get that feedback. And then when all said and done, April 15th, they'll announce the presentations on Zoom, and the winners themselves will be announced on April 22nd. The first round rules are going to consist of the following. You need to develop a 3-minute video explaining your ideas. You can use a preference, whatever you prefer for using that explanation through Microsoft PowerPoint, Google Slides, Keynotes, or even Prezi are 4 options that are perfectly fine, as well as anything else that you are using for software. If you feel like that would be to your benefit, anything's open. We do have an uploaded unlisted video to YouTube instructions on the website on how to be able to do that. So we will show you how to do that through this website here that you can see, and that's how you can successfully upload your video as well as your presentation files. And that is going to be known as NTID outreach at rit.edu. That is due by the March 9th, 2022. You need to register though. It is essential. Do not make sure you do not skip that date. That is on February 25th, next week. Now, the first round sample presentations, these are just an example. What we're expecting you to do is produce all 5 of these things. We're going to expect you to emphasize a problem statement. What is it that you are bringing forward to the table on your presentation? What does that include? Basically, what is the product itself, or possibly the service that you're wanting to bring forward, or even both? And then you need to also emphasize, what is the goal? What is it that you're trying to achieve with the problem that you've noticed and you're trying to resolve, either through the product or service? Who is your target audience? It's essential to know who you're trying to outreach. Is it to adults like your parents or guardians, or is it to hard of hearing people or hearing people, or maybe even people of your age, so your peers? So make sure you know who your audience is. And then the last thing that will wrap up everything, that will suck us in and go, yes, we are interested in you, is going to be that selling statement. And that's going to help us remember who you are. You're going to have to be able to do all 5 of these things within a 3-minute presentation. That is the cap. So I'm going to, this is a bit of a fun part, not going to lie. I'm going to show you 2 presentations. One presentation that's not the best of a good example, and then one that is a good example. So you have a better idea of, this is what we're expecting. And then I'll explain to you why one presentation wasn't ideal and then while the other one is. So we have somebody who's bringing forward a single player Frisbee. And that's from Richie, our dog, Tiger. So this is the first page we received. This is the second page in their presentation. What does it look like? You throw it anywhere and it comes back to you. Don't need to play with anybody. That's it. That's all we're seeing. There's no why or how this is cool or a new concept or is there a problem? And so none of that is emphasized, and that is a problem. And then the cost, $9.99 for one Foomerang. Please vote for me. I need the money. Do you feel convinced? Because I'm not feeling like I want to hand off some money to this person. So yes, it's essential to talk about the product, but the goal as well. So, I'm going to throw it and it'll come back to me, but what's the problem? Like, are you having a problem? Like, we don't know. That hasn't been emphasized, and we need to know that. We also need to know who's your audience. Like, who are you trying to convince to buy this product? So that's something that needs to be stated in a selling statement. You need to say something along the lines of, okay, $9.99 for a Foomerang doesn't make sense. It doesn't say who's going to buy it. This isn't selling a great product in my mind. So now let me show you a great presentation. Look at this. We got some colors, we got candy, we got pictures, and this was called Sweet Dash by Richie Tiger. You're already probably pulled in because you're seeing a versatility of colors. You're like, ooh, what is this going to be about? Like, we're already interested. And look at here, they have a problem statement. And they're like, okay, I don't have a vehicle. Time, is sometimes a hiccup. I'm limited on time. And you know what? I am lazy and I don't want to buy. I want to buy something now. So that's their problem statement. Sweet Dash is a collaborative from local candy shops with the goal to sell to high school students. And so high school students, like in your own environment. So obviously we've been able to identify that the audience are high school students such as yourselves. And then they go on to expand. There's 6 candy bags for $25 or 4 candy bags for $20. And they even show the profit of what would be made after how much money they're putting into their buying products. So that way they are emphasizing those specifics. So it seems like they're honing in and being very clear in their delivery. And the goal here then is brought forward and says, quick delivery to high school students during school time. We don't have a car. What are we going to do? We're going to use this app. We're going to use this app and they're going to bring me my candy. And that's really nice. They mentioned again, who is the audience? So, oh, it's for students. That's not good enough to say it's for students. So here we have like a bubble effect. So 3,500 high school students are in Martin High School. Of those students in Martin High School, if they're like, okay, well, I want to go to a larger audience. Okay, what about within the Arlington School District? There's 60,000 high school students in that location, but let's bring it even to a macro level, a bigger level, such as the United States. This could be applicable to 15.6 million high school students in America. So think outside the box, don't think small. So all said and done, this was the end of their presentations. This is how they close it out. Sweet is so delicious. And, that's something you're going to memorize. Sweet, like, okay, and their name is Sweet Dash. They incorporated a comment that actually connects to the name, and their love for candy is being clearly shown. So this is what they wrapped up.
Now I just emphasize what points need to be made in the presentation, and I'm going to re-emphasize, you need to identify the issue and then present your product or service, and then mention the goal. What do we want to see from this product or service? Please identify your target audience. And then lastly, you want something that's going to be engaging with people and with the target audience. And you want some kind of point to hammer home while you wrap up your presentation that's going to be memorable. I think all of us would agree that, the good example is an example of a winner, possibly. So keep that in mind moving forward. And now we're going to pick the top 5 out of all the entries. We'll probably have about 25 of them in the round prior to that. So Scott Atkins, Wendy Daniels, and Baker Ali. Those are the 3 advisors that are going to help pick the top 5 presentations. Now, the 7-minute presentation, let me just take a moment to discuss that. You might be wondering what we want to see for the 7-minute presentation. And this is for the final round. We really want to see more standouts in this round. We want to see something more in depth, which is why this presentation is a little bit longer than the previous round. So any issues that you may have with the previous presentation, you can iron that out in this one. We might come back and say, oh, this seems a little expensive. And then you may have to adjust your cost structure or how much you'll be profiting. So I want to go a little bit more in depth and explain the details. The website also has those details. So again, you're welcome to check that out. And we're here to advise and support you. So again, I just mentioned these 3 people that will be on the board, or the advisors. Again, I want to emphasize that we're all here to support you. So I just tried the link and it doesn't actually work, but I am happy to send you the link to this video so you can watch it. And, you might think, oh, I really want to present, but I'm so nervous. Maybe take a couple minutes with your family or friends or an instructor and practice your presentation so you feel a bit more comfortable. You can see here the 2016 alumni show and then the 2018 NBI final round. So if you think that a 1-minute pitch, you can challenge yourself with that. If you think you're not yet ready for the 3 minutes, you can throw in an introduction, a problem, some type of solution, which would be your product or the service, hence your idea. And it's pretty simple, 3 minutes, you'll feel comfortable in no time if you do this 1 minute pitch challenge. And then the audience is high school students or whoever you decide. So previous students, we had Ty, Sean, and someone else. And, you might want to be funny. You might want to add some type of puns or lighten up your presentation in some way. It doesn't have to be stiff at all. You can be friendly, be yourself. Don't really change, who you are for other people just because, it might draw other people to you. Your personality is bright and shiny. You want people to see that. So you want to inspire other people, and that's tough to do if you're very rigid and boring. You give that type of presentation. You want to be charismatic and you want to engage people and draw them in. So again, it's really emphasized that, just be original. Sometimes you feel like you're doubting your ideas. You might be nervous. You might be more reserved, but honestly, let it all out. We're here for it completely. So we want to know what your idea is. We want to know what you think. And we really want to be wowed. So maybe you're thinking about different ideas and you're kind of playing around, but do some research, talk to people that you're close with. There's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with doing some research. It's not against the rules or anything. So we want an original idea. That's the important part. So you can search for maybe problems that have not had a solution identified or a potential solution. So maybe you're talking to a friend or a family member and they mention something and you're like, oh yeah, I feel the same way about that. What can we do about that? So yeah, that's a good way to jumpstart your ideas and your brainstorming. So I think that's about it. And if you have any questions, any at all, about registration or the contest itself, please reach out to NTID outreach at rit.edu. You're welcome to send your questions. You can drop it in the Q&A or the chat box here. It seems pretty quiet, but please don't forget the deadline for registration is February 5th or February 25th. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.